Okay. Okay, gang, welcome to today's Inner Circle call. Couple of housekeeping updates. One is I'm redoing the platform for our Inner Circle library. It'll have a, it'll be a little easier to navigate. There'll be some quizzes to deepen the learning curve. So I'm really excited about it. That'll be coming out by the end of July, early August at the latest. So excited to get that for you because we're going to try to take the 50 or 60 hours of recordings in there and condense it so that it's more in bite-sized pieces. Because what's in there now is just recorded calls and there's value in that. But there's always, 20% of an hour recording that you're like, I didn't need to hear that. So we're going to try to make it a little bit more impactful for you all. So I'm excited for that. And then recently I've been doing some one-on-one events. And I sometimes forget some of the shit that we did to get to the level of success that we were at. So in doing that event and having it come out so great, I thought I would highlight just some random bullet points to give you a heightened awareness of things that you should be on your radar or that you should be thinking about or more conscious about. So I've just pulled up some slides here, and the first thing I want to talk about is how many hours a week do you work? Now, for Bill and Kip, I think you do a pretty good job from my observations of shutting it off, but I want to make sure that you are capable of shutting it off. So I'm going to talk about rainmaker activities and dollar producing activities because we're all busy. And, there's no shortage of things that we need to get done. But some things are more of a priority than other things. And we want to make sure that you're prioritizing your day into things that really matter versus things that aren't so urgent. And I remember Stephen Covey, um, I believe it was Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talked about the 4 quadrants. Let me see if I can get a visual here of that. And yeah, it'll take me a second. I wasn't planning on telling the story, but it entered my brain. So it'll be a good reminder for me too, because I'm super busy. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so let me find, there's one that I like better than all the other quadrants. Just take me a second to find it. Yeah, this is a good one. All right. So this is where we spend our time. There's only 4 quadrants. So the top level is where dollar productive activities happen and high quality of life. I'm not all about money, although I want to be efficient. I want to optimize and maximize income opportunities. I have big goals. It costs money to achieve those goals. And I need to spend more time in quadrant one to make the financial goals that I want. But in the area of health and family and quality of life, I also need to spend time in quadrant one. So there's 2 axes, things that are important. So important is on the top plane, and things that are urgent. What happens is that people recognize that things are important and they treat them with urgency. Actually, this isn't the one. It's important and urgent. This should be quadrant one. This one should be over here. Let me see if I can find I thought this was a good one, but it's not. I don't like that one. We want to spend our time doing the things that are important and treating them with urgency. Oh, this one looks better. Okay, yeah, this is better. So important, you know, important is lead generation important? The answer is yes. Is working on your business important? The answer is yes. Should it be treated with urgency? Should it be in your schedule? The answer is yes. Is getting a new listing uploaded to MLS important? The answer is yes, but it shouldn't be treated with urgency. It's important, but not urgent. Do you guys follow me? And I want you to just have a conscious awareness of the more time you can spend in quadrant one, those are the things that move the needle. So training, is training important? Yes. Should it be treated with urgency? We would agree, yes. Why are there people in our inner circle program paying significant amount of money to be here and they're not here? They know it's important. They're subscribers, but they're not treating it with urgency because they're treating something else with urgency that's also important that shouldn't be treated with urgency. So we want to stay above the center axis. Then there are things that are not important that you treat with urgency. Getting on social media, seeing who's followed your post, liked your post. It's not important, but yet our behavior shows us that we're treating it with urgency. So we want to be aware of that. And then there's things that are not important and shouldn't be treated with urgency. So I wanted to share that with you. Now, the first thing this is where I wanted to start the call. How many hours do you work a day, a week, a year? I want you to calculate how many hours you work or are thinking about work. Are you able to shut it off? Are you able to turn it on? If the answer is no, you're always available because you're afraid you're going to lose that deal. We'll get there. Rome wasn't built in a day, but I'm not afraid of losing a deal. We all lose deals. So what's there to be afraid of? I want to work on my terms, and there's plenty of business out there. So if you calculate the amount of hours you work per year, 50 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, 2,500 hours. If you make $1 million in gross commission income, you're worth about $480 an hour. Divided by 60, you're worth $8 a minute. In 15 minutes, you're worth $86, $88. So when someone says to Brian Moses, hey, do you got 15 minutes? I'm like, fuck, that's like $500. Is it important? Do I need to treat it with urgency? So they tie together. I'm very conscious of my time. And if you want to give yourself a pay raise, be aware of this and catch yourself not doing $500 an hour work. Catch yourself doing, run into, I can't even tell you the last time I've been to a grocery store. I just don't do it. There's other places I can spend my time. We divide and conquer in the Moses household. Some people go, well, I like to go with my wife. Well, I do too. But if I go with my wife, that's 2 hours that I can't get back to make $2,000, $3,000 an hour. So it requires a little bit of discipline, but the discipline won't happen until you create that conscious awareness. So homework assignment, take your annual income goal for 2027, divide by the number of hours you're willing to commit to working based on your schedule, come up with an hourly worth, know what your time is worth per minute, and know what your time is worth for 15 minutes. And it'll drive you crazy. I was at the doctor's the other day and they were an hour late. I wasn't happy. I made the best of it. I always bring a backpack, and in my backpack, I always have a book I always have my goals. So I make the best out of downtime. When you're stuck waiting or in downtime, do you have a way to be more productive in that downtime? So just to create that conscious awareness. Um, okay, I've told this story before. I don't know if you have heard it, but it's worth mentioning. Had the great fortune many years ago of speaking with Richard Branson. And I was behind the stage with him in the green room, and it was just he and I was starstruck. I'm like, oh shit, he's coming over towards me. I don't want to sound stupid. What am I going to say to Richard Branson? So my brain starts going crazy. And I come up with the question. He goes, hi, I'm Richard. No shit, you're Richard. You're like Jesus Christ. Jesus is no longer alive and on planet Earth, but you're fucking pretty close. So he comes over, he goes, I'm Richard. I go, I'm Brian. I'll be speaking after you, which is a tough act to follow. But I said, I've been thinking, with all your success, what advice would you give a young man who's really ambitious, wants to do great things in the world? What one strategy tactic would you tell me I need to pay attention to and focus on? Lead generation, marketing, innovation, what advice would you give me? And he paused for a second and he actually put his hand on his chin, kind of like in the picture. And he said, that's a great question. It's not what to do, it's what not to do. So I want you guys to start thinking about a stop doing list. Where are you spending time below the center axis, treating things that are not important with urgency or treating them as they are important? What kind of things can you delegate to get out of so that you can give your year another 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, 1,000 hours of productivity? Anything come to mind? What are your time sucks? Anybody want to volunteer?
TC work.
Great. Transaction coordination, 100%, right? You can pay somebody a transaction fee to handle that from beginning to end. But we have this, Keller Williams calls it the drunk monkey. We all have that voice in the head. Well, no, that's the clients want me. And we have these false beliefs. The truth is they don't want you. They want it to get done. And if a transaction coordinator can get it done faster, quicker, and better than you, probably should go with the TC. And I've learned that a transaction coordinator is better than Brian Moses. So that's a great example, Bill. Now, I don't want to pay the $500. That's the drunk monkey in your head. I don't want to have to pay that. Then charge a transaction fee on top of your commission, which we've got training and recording calls on it. And on our one-on-one calls, we can talk about doing that. We were doing 400 plus deals a year, and we charged every consumer $500 transaction fee. That's a $200,000 increase to my bottom line to help pay for these services. So, like any other business, when the costs of providing services go up, they pass it on to the consumer. When the prices of the fuel go up because of the war, because of what's going on, the prices at the pump go up. So that's a great example. What about attending home inspections? It's a big pet peeve of mine. I'm not a home inspector. I don't know shit about plumbing, electrical, heating. But it's been customary that agents do that. So there's a lot of disease in our business about how it's been done for hundreds of years. Do you know how people used to travel the country hundreds of years ago in a horse and buggy? Do you know how people used to go to the bathroom hundreds of years ago? In an outhouse. The world has evolved. You guys and gals can evolve your real estate business. You set the rules. In fact, it's all about managing clients' expectations. And when the home inspection, when they go, hey, I would like to do the home inspection Thursday at 2, I go, fantastic. Let me facilitate that. And my transaction coordinator will call, get it scheduled, but I'm not going. And I'll let the buyer know I'm not going to, I won't be at the home inspection. I'm not available Thursday at 2. Do you want to wait a week for my availability or should we go ahead and get it done? See, I'll review the report with you if there's any concerns. And I learned this many years ago when the doctor uh, thought my foot was broken. He sent me to X-ray, but he didn't come with me to X-ray. He sent me to X-ray. The X-ray technician, home inspector, did the X-ray, did the inspection. The doctor reviewed the inspection with me, the client, the patient. So I don't want to tell you what to do or what not to do, but I want you to think about the activities that we're engaged in. And if you do 50 deals a year, and the average home inspection is 3 hours with travel to and from, like it wipes out your day. 50 times 3 is 150 hours that you just freed up. 150 divided by 50 weeks and 50 hours a week is you just gave yourself 3 weeks of life back that you can spend in quadrant one. Is that making sense? So I want you to pause and I want you to think about, okay, where am I getting caught in the weeds? Um, and Kip, this is not directed at you. I'm just having a conversation because we were on a call yesterday. And what I love about Kip, great implementer, give him an idea, he runs with it. Um, and he's producing the Canva. And I don't know how to use Canva. I have a Canva account. I don't know how to use it. I'm not good with it. And Kip went back and forth, and it's okay now. It's okay now. But I would love for a time to come in Kip's life where he's like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not doing that design. I'm going to have this person, a VA in the Philippines, do this design, and they'll get it done for $300 a month on a part-time basis, $3,600 a year to have a part-time VA who's better with Canva than I am. So that Kip could be spending the time that he was producing the business cards and the direct mail pieces. Because if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. And I don't want you to make a knee-jerk reaction, and I'm not singling you out. I just know that everybody, myself included, even right now today, as proud as I am of the life that I built, the training that I've conditioned into my body, if you followed me around for a week, you would find me pretty productive, a lot of time in quadrant one, hardly any time in quadrant two, hardly any time in quadrant three, or no time in quadrant four. But you would catch me in quadrants 2 and 3. And that's just me being honest and vulnerable. So we're all guilty of it. But being aware of it is step one. How can we move on? What can we stop doing? Okay, the other thing that I'm just going to go through this. This is worth mentioning. So many people in our inner circle program are very successful in their places. They do, they're full-time, they're professional, they're closing deals. And if I were to go into the MLS, I would find you in the top 20%, maybe even higher. And we get into this place where we're the big fish in a bowl. We get acknowledged, we get awards, people see us in our community. It's a really dangerous place to be the big fish in the bowl. I'm intentional and purposeful about never being the smartest person in the room. You become a product of your environment. So, homework assignment number three, how can you elevate and raise your environment? Uh, I appreciate you being part of my coaching programs. That's a commitment to raising your environment. But even beyond me, who are you spending time with? Who's lifting you up, believing in you, telling you can do it, and who's telling you you can't do it? Be aware of that. You put a goldfish in a bowl, the goldfish grows to be a certain size. You put that goldfish in a lake, it grows to be really, really big. The biggest thing that I did to move myself from the bowl to the lake was I stopped being comfortable being the big fish in New Hampshire. And I made a decision to be more productive, more efficient, more profitable in one of the big fish in the United States or in the world. Now, that may not be your goal, and that's okay, but you can apply it to what your goals are. If you want to do jujitsu, the same principle applies. You become a product of your environment. If you want to have more spiritual connection, the same thing applies. So surround yourself with mentors, people, and environments that lift you up and don't pull you down. It's really, really important. And I'm always looking at who do I need to eliminate from the fold? Now, oftentimes, the people that I need to eliminate from the fold are part of my family. And that's a tough one because you can't choose your family. So I'm not eliminating my family, but I'm very conscious about how I spend my time with them, when I spend my time with them, what if the conversations are going negatively, I'm out, I check out. It's like, okay, see you later, bye-bye, gotta go. So just choose your environment wisely. And then I want to share this story with you. I haven't told it in a long time. Price Pritchett wrote this book, U Squared. It's a great one. They're inexpensive. They're about 60 pages. And I'm really interested mostly with the introduction, but the whole book is great and you can read it in a couple of hours. But he tells the story about how he was sitting in a inn in his hotel room working on a project and he heard the desperate sounds of a struggle going on just a few feet away. And it was a fly flying into the window trying to get to the outside world. And he paused for a second and he looked and he watched the fly fly into the windowsill and the fly drops down, still alive, kind of shaking off its concussion. The fly recovers. You can hear the wings flapping. Zzz. The fly gets airborne again, turns around, gets a head start, zzz, really flaps his wings heavily and tries harder to break through the window. And Price Pritchett's looking, and the air conditioning wasn't working in his room, and the door was open just a few feet away. And he was asking himself, why doesn't the fly, with a fraction of the effort, just effortlessly fly through the open door? Why does the fly stake its life's future on trying harder, doing more of the same? So I tell that story today to get you thinking about what are areas that you're trying harder at. For me, it was prospecting. I was up to 300 cold calls a day. I didn't start with 300, started with 50 calls a day. Wasn't getting anywhere. So let's do 100 calls a day. Wasn't really getting any meat off the bone. Tried 150 calls a day. Do you guys follow me? I was the fucking fly. 300 calls a day, dialing for dollars. Hi, are you thinking about moving? No. If you were to move, where do you think you'd go next? You know, the old school traditional scripts, trying harder, harder, harder. I'd run ads. They didn't work. So what do? Put color on them, spend more money, try harder. There's a better way. Let me summarize the big picture for you guys to think about. And it's just fly through the open door. Three, three components. Become a master at lead generation. Kip, we're getting after it hard. I love it. You're embracing it. You get it. You're sharp. You're smart. Bill, you are too. We don't have the luxury of one-on-one, but Kip is understanding that we can attract your ICP. We can get the buyers and the sellers in the area that you want to raise their hand. And that is a lot less work than prospecting your sphere of influence, hunting and chasing, begging for referrals. Let's just find ways to enjoy this business so much better by flying through the open door. Lead conversion. What you say, how you say it, when you say it matters. It's effortless for me, effortless to speak to a buyer, speak to a seller, and book an appointment. Effortless. Not hard work, not bashing my head against the window. So master your buyer and seller offers. Kip and I have had 2 calls where he's already into that. So Bill, if you've got access to these programs, make sure that you're training, make sure you're doing that, and it will make your life effortless. And then the third is client acquisition. How hard is it to get a listing when you're competing against 3 other agents and all of them are willing to take the listing for a percent to 2% less? For me, it's effortless. So we want to build a system that is effortless, and training needs to be in your weekly calendar. Go through some of this stuff. And just so you know, and for the people who are watching this recording, when I got into the business, I did everything my sales manager told me to do. They said, hey, why don't you do pies on Thanksgiving? There's nothing wrong with doing that. A lot of work for very little results. Pies on Thanksgiving, pumpkins on Halloween, flags on the 4th of July. I'd get up 5 o'clock in the morning and I'd go and put flags with my business card on the properties in the area of the farm. And do you know what would happen? People would keep my flags, eat my pumpkins, eat my pies, and then list their home with somebody else. That's hard work to get incremental results. I ran stupid ads, stupid campaigns promoting myself. Promoting yourself is hard. People don't care about me. We need to accept that. The buying and selling public don't give a shit about me, and they don't give a shit about you. They listen to one frequency on the radio, WIFM. What's in it for me? So there's nothing in it for them when I'm promoting myself. I'd run bigger ads, put color in them, spend more money, try harder. Didn't get too far with it. Let me continue on here. This is worth talking about too. So I'm condensing a 8-hour course that I did a week ago, 400 plus slides, into a 1-hour call of the things that I feel are really, really critical to be reminded of. There are 2 worlds that exist. One is the reported world. This is how it's been done. People give away pies. People promote themselves. That's reported world. That's factual for our real estate industry. I could go to any market in the world and find you people who are giving away pies on Thanksgiving. True or false? I could go to any market in the world and find people who are farming and promoting themselves, who are bragging about the recent transaction that they just did. So that's the reported world. It's factual, it's evident, it's proof. I can go to any market in the world and find agents who are bitching about the length of time on the market, the limited inventory, interest rates. Interest rates are what? It's just under 7 now. They're not getting better anytime soon. That's the, 80% of real estate agents last year didn't sell one house. All of that is true. I do not listen to the reported world. If I can beg you, plead you, implore you to embrace a philosophy in life, the philosophy is fuck the reported world. I want you to enter the created world where you create the business that you want. You iterate on things. You control your life. The reported world told me and my wife that we were infertile and we can't have kids. And I said, fuck the reported world. And thank God I did. Can you imagine if I listened to that doctor? I believe, and this comes back to our beliefs, I believe that anything's possible. I believe you can make 5 times more money working less than you currently are. There's a better way. I'm always looking for it. I believe the sky's the limit. And your beliefs control your thinking, and your thinking controls your actions or your inactions, and your actions or inactions control your results. Many of you know the story about my son. I won't go down that road, but 5'8" quarterback who wanted to play college football. The reported world says, "Nuh-uh, not so fast, no chance." He didn't believe that. He said, fuck the reported world. And not only did he play college football, he played in the SEC at Vanderbilt. I was I'd like you to exercise this, not just in your real estate business, but when I was at the Kentucky Derby, I said, I'd like to walk a horse onto the track. People go, you're crazy. How are you going to do that? I go, I don't know, but people do it. I'd like to be one of the guys that do it. I go to the Super Bowl with my son. We want to meet the players. We end up at the post-game Super Bowl party. We meet Ali Raceman, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. Because we believe. I go to an all-star game in Washington, D.C. If I'm going to go, I'm going to make it better. So believe that you can have, do, and experience anything you want in life. Are you guys familiar with the comedian Nate Bargatze? He's hysterical. Watch him on Netflix. He's a huge Vanderbilt football fan, and he's from Tennessee. So we went to see him, and I'm like, I want to meet Nate Bargatze. There's 10,000 people in the auditorium. How are you going to do that? I believe I can find a way to meet him. So my wife and I go to the concert. We end up getting backstage passes from one of his handlers, and we get a picture with Nate Bargatze. That's the type of life that I want you to embrace and claim and take hold of. This is not just real estate, but definitely real estate. Like, what kind of marriage do you want to have? What kind of relationship do you want with your kids? What do you want to do personally? I said this year, I'd like to take the winter off and go to Key West, Florida, or someplace warm. My kids are gone now. So those thoughts are turning in that those beliefs that I can do it have turned into actions. And my wife and I are going to be in Key West from January to April. And I'm not going to take the time off, but I'm going to be in 70-degree weather instead of minus 20-degree weather. So set really big goals. Here's the other thing I want to impress upon you. Everything I'm talking about is uncomfortable. And maybe even we have that drunk monkey or that voice in our head that says, yeah, you can't do that. You can't meet Nate Bargatze. You can't play college football. You're too small. Because there's that the reported world, it's on the news, it's in your environment. people that are well-intended, your spouses, your kids, your family, they're well-intended, but they're telling you all the reasons why we can't do something. Turn your cheek to that bullshit and then make a decision that you can. And as you start to pursue that, you're going to have, you know, you're going to enter the fear zone where you have excuses not to do something, where maybe you second guess yourself or you lack confidence. But take that feedback and know that the next zone is learning. Kip, we went back and forth. God, I'm so proud of you. It's a really good example just on creating these direct mail campaigns and these letters. Did we make any adjustments as we went through them? Did you learn anything more than you originally did when we set out on the mission?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
We
go ahead.
yeah, we refined and refined and refined.
And now we're growing and we're way past the fear zone. It's like, are you excited to launch this campaign or are you afraid to launch this campaign?
No, I'm stoked.
Because you got through the fear zone where you learned things make sense. You're like, that makes sense. These pieces to the puzzle are coming together. So, really, really important. Never a bad time to raise the bar and set outrageous goals. Part of what I'm talking about today is some of my goals. What I want to do personally, professionally, spiritually, health wise. So dream big. Go through the goal setting exercise if you haven't recently done that. It's in module 1 of the Ultimate Real Estate Blueprint. Thoughts become things. Big thinkers have big results. And if you believe that you can do it, you'll go for it and you'll have a better quality of life than if you never went for it. So don't live with any regrets. Um, I have some examples in here, but I'll skip through that. Let's get into some I don't know if I've done this with you guys recently. So two things that are going to be required for your continued growth, development, and success: skill and motivation. Both critically important. One infinitely more important than the other. Have you seen this before, Bill?
Yes.
So I'll ask Kip, have you seen this before?
Yes.
Oh, you have. So you guys know which is more important. Which is more important?
Motivation.
Bill,
I say the same.
you've seen me do this before and you still say motivation?
No, I've never seen you do it before.
Okay, so let's take our real estate hats off. Now, if I told you you're wrong and it's skill and it trumps motivation, you'd be like, nope, I still am going to hold on to my answer of motivation.
It's
Because,
the fly.
well, yeah, that's a good example, right? It's a really good example. If the fly had the skill to just fly through an open door, look for the open door, look for an easier way, it would have been free. But let's look at some other examples. Let's pretend that you're locked in a room and we have 8 minutes to get out of the room, but it's barricaded shut and there's no way out. Which wire do you pull on this bomb that we found? The red wire, the yellow wire, or the blue wire? Who's motivated to live? We all motivated to live at a high level? Which wire do you pull? Who thinks in this example skill would trump motivation?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're 90 years old and you're like, man, probably this is my time, God's going to take me. But knowing which wire to pull is more important than motivation. What if we went skydiving? Would you try doing that on your own? I don't know about you, but I wouldn't. My ass puckered when I had a skilled person on my back. How about day trading? Can you make significant ROI by day trading? Yeah, there's people that make millions and millions of dollars. They work 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at the end of the day, and I have friends that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars who are highly skilled at this. Why don't we do it? We're motivated to make more money with less effort. It's a skill I don't understand. Flying a plane, skill or motivation. Your car breaks down, you want to fix it. You open up the hood, you got to call a mechanic. My son, how many kids want to play college football? So here's why I'm sharing this with you. I was motivated when I got into the business and I struggled. I didn't know how to generate leads. I didn't know how to convert leads, and I didn't know how to acquire clients. Those are three skills. I would argue I'm one of the best in the world at those three skills: lead generation, lead conversion, client acquisition. I don't lose listings on listing appointments, even when somebody else is 2% less, because I'm highly skilled. So those are the skills that I want you to be aware of. And if you have kids, which you all do, I want you to be aware of that so that you can teach them that lesson too. My son understood this. Do you know why most kids who want to play college sports don't play college sports? Because they think that motivation is more important than skill. And it's not. It's not even close. And when you master lead generation, lead conversion, and client acquisition, you can have significant hockey stick growth, geometric growth, exponential growth. Most people in the real estate industry flatline, they make the same amount of money every year for the rest of their life. Maybe if they're motivated, they make a little bit more over time. But it's the people that are highly skilled who have the big, big growth. Any questions on any of this so far?
No.
All right, we want to differentiate ourselves. So this is just a recap on lead generation. Remember Richard Branson said, it's what not to do that matters. I stopped branding and promoting myself. I stopped doing what everybody else was doing. Not overnight, not cold turkey, but eventually I didn't do any of this. So I want you all to continue doing what you're doing that has produced the production that you currently have. But as you start to implement and execute on new activities and your business starts to climb, you can get rid of the shit that's highly expensive, very costly, cumbersome, high labor intensive. I also made a decision in how I want my business to look. I didn't want to be lumped in with the real estate industry who does just listed and just solds, who sends out newsletters that say, Happy fall, I'm just checking in. This newsletter was sent to me by an agent at Carlson GMC in my marketplace. They do mortgage and real estate. And there's 100 agents at this company, and I get 10 of these emails on the same day from 10 different agents, all saying the same thing. Not very impressive. So we want to get away from crazy branding, self-promotion, bragging about selling our listings. This is what it would look like if you were a doctor, right? Can you
Uh,
imagine? It's crazy, 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 crazy. How about this guy? Need a real estate agent? You're in luck. Desperate. It's really about differentiation. So, in conclusion, here's what I want you to do. If you're doing this already, great. But this year, before the year is over, I want you to have 5 seller messages. 5. That's like having a restaurant with 5 items on the menu. If I owned a restaurant and you came to my restaurant and I only had 5 items on the menu, you probably wouldn't stay or you wouldn't come back. Agreed? And
Yes.
most real estate agents have 0 items on a menu, but 5 will change your life. So, and we can have 5 for buyers too, because buyers and sellers are different. And we need to bait them with differentiation. They're not going to call you because your name is Bill Dixon, because your name is Brian Moses, because you're wearing a $5,000 suit. They don't care. They're going to call you based on your messaging. So 5 messages for your ICP. Kip and I are deep into it now, like in after less than 2 weeks, he's already got, we have buyers for your home. Call me. They're willing to pay over asking price, waive inspections, and he's targeting a particular ideal client profile neighborhood with those letters. He will get calls, guaranteed. He's doing business cards that say, sell your Santa Cruz. Is it Santa Cruz?
Santa Luz.
Santa Luz home. And you did 5 areas. Like
Hmm.
you're not just interested in one area. You have 5. What's the average sales price in Santa Luz?
Average is about 4.5 million.
Bill, could you imagine that? $4.5 million. Is that a good place to go fishing? You bet.
Hmm.
So, Bill, apply the same thing. So we have buyers, sell your home without listing, name your asking price. And these are all campaigns you can copy and model. Um, Equity advance on your home interest free up to $25,000 to make improvements so you sell your home for more. That's another message. Receive an instant cash offer on your home is another message. And I would put those messages on a rotation and I would distribute them through all the media, free and inexpensive media I could find. And pretty soon, your brand will be known by everybody in your marketplace when you didn't do any branding. To this day, when I give my credit card at a restaurant or I'm at, you know, a plaza in New Hampshire, or I go to a community event and people are like, you the real estate guy? Yeah, I'm the real estate guy. You know what company I'm with? No fucking idea what company you're with. They don't know what company I'm with. I go, how do you know that I'm in real estate? Aren't you the guy that buys homes for cash? Yep, that's me. Do you guys follow me? Your brand becomes your message. So I'm really, really excited to watch your progress. Is that a good overview of
Hmm.
trying to simplify what we're trying to accomplish here?
Hmm.
Lead generation, lead conversion, client acquisition, set ginormous goals, live in the created world. Don't let anybody tell you you can't have the life that you want. You can have, do, experience, accomplish anything you set your mind to if you want it bad enough. Questions?
No, that's awesome.
All right, guys, go get them.
Thanks,
Thank
Brian.
you.
Look forward to
Thank you,
seeing
Brian.
you next call. Take care. Bye bye.
Appreciate you, brother. Bye bye.
Ditto. Bye bye.